President Biden faced an intense criticism over this split-screen moment where he was seen biking on vacation while images from Del Rio, Texas show a humanitarian crisis with thousands of migrants packed in squalid conditions under a bridge. The Department of Homeland Security says it is working to process and remove many of the more than 12,000 Haitian immigrants camped out. Secretary Mayorkas forced to go down to the border today to address the situation.
If you come to the United States illegally, you will be returned. Your journey will not succeed, and you will be endangering your life and your family's lives. This administration is committed to developing safe, orderly, and humane pathways for migration, but this is not the way to do it.
Okay, Jesse, he said the border is closed. If you see the footage that Bill Melugin caught over the weekend with thousands of migrants just walking across the border does not look closed. And at what point are we going to get these urgent measures that Mayorkas is talking about? Because it's now September 20th.
Yeah, we're never going to get it, Dana. Biden's not running the country. He's running it into the ground. You cannot have third world tent cities at our gates. He said he was going to bring this country back to normal. That's not normal. You can't have law enforcement on horseback trying to round up waves of West Africans and Haitians pouring across the border from tent cities. That is craziness. And now we've had back-to-back months, August and September, of shocking images kind of assaulting the senses of the American people that we were not told was going to happen. Joe Biden was supposed to get a hold on this stuff, and it's exploded under his watch. Let's put this in Biden's home turf. Imagine we did this to Delaware, right? Imagine we shipped thousands and thousands and thousands of migrants into Delaware, and they're fishing on the bay. They're riding Amtrak, packed in, unvaxxed, little English, no skills. Where are they going to live? In tents? They're going to live at the beach? Or you're going to put them in housing and to put them in starter homes? You're going to have to double every classroom size of every public school district. You're going to have to raise taxes to pay for the social services. They're going to need health care. They're going to need housing. They're going to need welfare. This is what they're doing. They're going to steal jobs. They're going to lower wages. And then in a generation, they're going to have political power because their families are going to be able to vote. So then they're going to just change the entire direction of Delaware. Do Delawareans want that, Dana? Did they ask for that, Dana? They didn't. Why is Joe doing that to Texas? He's not doing it to Delaware. He's doing it to Texas. And Democrats and Republicans are saying, slow it down, Joe. Hispanics, blacks, and whites are saying, Joe, slow it down. He's not doing anything. He sits at his little beach house and he obsesses over masks to slap on second graders. The man is sick.
Okay.
Sick man.
There was an exchange today that I want to get your take on, Greg.
Sure.
This is our own Peter Doocy asking the White House press secretary where the vice president is.
Where's the vice president on any of this? Isn't she supposed to be addressing the root causes of migration?
Absolutely, and she has been addressing the root causes of migration by working with countries in the region to ensure they have the assistance they need to reduce the number of people who are coming and trying to make those journeys across the border.
Greg, this weekend on Saturday, Kamala Harris was at a college football game doing the ceremonial coin toss, which I don't think it's a root cause.
She was rooting instead of looking for the root cause.
So.
By the way, I'm opening a hair salon called Root Causes, in case you want to touch up.
I might need one. What are you saying?
Is the vacation redundant or is it preferable, right? Have you ever had a coworker who you're delighted when they take a week off?
Why are you looking at me?
But there's always the contrary. Say, oh, this has been going on forever. This sort of thing has been going. No, this has not. This refugee camp, that's new. You got, 13,000 people? I can't remember the number. In a city of like 20,000, 25,000. That's never happened. Would have happened under a watchful administration that takes the immigration and the border seriously. I returned to Fox News' reporting. The drone footage, the helicopter reporting has forced this issue. Not in the CNN style of pushing innuendo and divisiveness. This is not Jussie Smollett or Russian collusion or the Fine People hoax. This is the visuals of chaos and calamity approaching the visuals of Afghanistan, except these people want to get in, Afghanistan want to go out. But it forces you to ask a question. Would this have ever been addressed if it wasn't for the network producing these visuals? And the answer is no, because no other media would have been bothered to do it. But we realized then, the conclusion to my long and painful thought is that real journalism only exists if you hate the president, right? That's why none of these networks are bothering to do it. They would only do it about Trump. But if they're on the Biden team, they're not going to do this story. We would have done this. We were at the border under Trump and under Biden, and this network is producing Pulitzer Prize-winning visuals there, and they will not get rewarded for it. Lastly, ongoing lesson in the education of incentives. This is what happens when you don't have friction. People come in. You got to have friction.
Jessica, the mayor of Del Rio, that's the town where the bridge is, he said that he was trying to get a hold of the White House over the weekend and didn't get a call back. Now, he gets a visit from the Secretary of Homeland Security today, but that seems a little like you're not doing your job if you don't call him back.
Well, it's an emergency level, the same level after you've had a hurricane, right, where everyone needs FEMA on the phone and they need to speak to the administration about what they're going to do for it. That's what happens in a city of 25,000 when there are 13,000 new people under a bridge. And when I first saw the footage, I think Friday, the drones started operating again, I was like, this doesn't look like it normally does at the border, what's going on? And then I thought, how did thousands and thousands of Haitians end up there? And went and read about it, and these are people who entered Central and South America in 2010 after the earthquake. They worked mostly in Brazil until the Rio Games when jobs dried up there, and they've been slowly migrating. I'm not saying every single one of them, but it's a new immigration problem that we have not been talking about, certainly under any administration.
One of them, in fact, Dagan, I read this article about somebody who had a Haitian who had immigrated to Chile. He had been in Chile, he had been working, and then he said that Biden is letting people in. So he joins the folks, and they come up and they get across the border. And then all of a sudden he finds himself on a deportation flight because they're sending the single young men back that they can. He goes back to Haiti, but he hadn't even been in Haiti for 11 years.
Right, and on that deportation flight, it was a little more than, over the weekend, 300 individual men, but there were 3,300 migrants who had been moved out from under the bridge on Friday. So where did the other 3,000 or so go? Somewhere in the middle of the country, who knows where. But what happened was maybe they were watching in Chile or Brazil or other countries, Joe Biden standing on a stage with other Democratic presidential candidates 2 years ago, raising his hand saying illegal immigrants are going to get government health care. And then they remove all of the border protections. Once he took office, the people in this administration were told by Trump officials, here's the roadmap on how to stop illegal immigration at the border. And clearly, Biden and company have been willing to use their vast executive power for their own political benefit when they see fit. They thought when they think the cause is worthy. They didn't like the abortion law in Texas that saved more babies from dying. So they unleashed the whole of government to change things they didn't like. Even Joe Biden was willing to overstep his executive power, his executive authority, knowingly on the eviction moratorium. It was brazen lawlessness. They admitted it. They did it anyway. But this is okay with them. Human suffering and misery and financial burdens and health burdens put on the citizens of the United States who live in these border communities. It's classic Biden.
The Biden administration is certainly not pro-human suffering, but just really quickly on the abortion point.
What do you call
that
this?
That bill is so out of the mainstream that 70% of Republicans don't even support it. No, it is.
My point is
you don't
that
even know that you are pregnant by 6 weeks, Dagan, in a lot of cases. I mean,
all right. Well, there's children suffering at the border, and it's been going on all year. And what have you heard out of the Biden administration? Nothing. He's riding his bike around Rehoboth.
All right, well, plenty of time to talk about
warlocks.
that Texas law. Ahead, the media turning on President Biden, with some saying he is suffering from a credibility crisis. We'll be right back.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.